Today's video we'll be talking about the express entry to Canada. For example, being a 30 years old, having IELTS by 7, having a bachelor's degree and a work experience of 5 years, it cost me 70 points. This 70 points shows that I am qualified to be inside the express entry pool. And hello guys, you're welcome to my channel. My name is Banestine. If you're joining for your very first time, you're highly welcome. For my returning subscribers, I love you all guys. Thank you so much for your support. Today's video, as I earlier said, we'll be talking about the express entry route to Canada. This is a continuation of our previous video where we have talked about the various ways that people migrate to Canada or the various immigration means to Canada. So the express entry was one of the means that people move to Canada as permanent residents. So I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about the express entry route. The first thing that you need to know is that the express entry is a means that skilled workers move to Canada as permanent residents and eventually become citizens of Canada. The next thing you need to know about the express entry route is that there are 3 different pathways under the express entry. We have the Canadian Experience Class, we have the Federal Skilled Worker Program, and we have the Federal Skilled Trade Program. The Canadian Experience Class is the pathway that people that have stayed and worked in Canada for 3 years, minimum of 3 years use. So if you have a work experience in Canada for 3 years as a skilled worker, you are qualified to use the Canadian Experience Class route. You must be doing a paid job as a skilled worker in Canada to use this route. And it is not only for those that are living in Canada. You might have worked in Canada for maybe 3 years, and then you left Canada, went to another country, and you now think to apply back to Canada as a permanent resident through this Canadian Experience Class. Let's go to this. The Federal Skilled Worker Program is for people that are living out of Canada and are skilled workers and wish to go to Canada as permanent residents. So if you are a skilled worker and you wish to go to Canada as a permanent resident, you are qualified for this route. But there are other things that you need to do to qualify enough to be selected for this route. The first thing, you must meet the minimum requirements. The minimum requirements first are, you must be a skilled worker, you must meet the language ability, and you must have this education assessment done. When we talk about being a skilled worker, you must fall under one of these occupations, either under T0, T1, T2, or T3. So you must be under these T's. I think previously it was called the NOC code something. Those that are skilled worker under the T0 are those that are doing managerial jobs. That is managers for various companies. You must be doing that job and you are paid for. You cannot be working as a volunteer and this count. It doesn't count. You must be, now the T1 are occupations that require a university degree. The T2 are those that are doing occupations that require a college diploma and an apprenticeship of 2 years or more, or those that are doing supervisory occupations and at least a college diploma. The T3 are those people that have a college diploma and have done apprenticeship of less than 2 years. All these are occupations that will suit under being classified as a skilled worker. For examples, we have managers, engineers, nurses, we have bakers, we have laboratory technicians, we have dental assistants, dentists. If you belong to any of these categories of people, if you are doing any of these jobs, you are a skilled worker. The next thing that you need to do your language assessment. So you must have your language assessment completed. So either you are doing the IELTS, which is the English language proficiency, or you do the French language assessment. So those that are francophones, you just check the website, you see the assessment that you can do as a French candidate. And for English candidate, you check and see that the one that you can do as an English candidate. The next thing you need to do is your credential assessment. You need to assess your education. You register with the organization that is doing the assessment. For example, WES does assessments for internationally educated skilled workers for this express entry. There are also other organizations that do it, and all of this will help now to score your final points for your express entry. After your entire process of language, skills and credential assessment, you are going to be scored on a point-based system to be qualified enough to be selected for your skill for the express entry program. For you to continue with the federal skilled worker program, they are going to be scoring you on a point base. So the point base, you need to have a minimum of 67 out of 100. This 67 out of 100, how does it work? Your age scores you. The age is scoring you a maximum of 12 points. This maximum of 12 points depends on your age. If you are 18 to 35, you are scoring 12 on 12. If you are 36, you score 11 on 12. 37, you score 10, and that is how the points keep dropping. Below 18, you are not eligible. Now, the next thing that will score your language proficiency. So the language proficiency, example IELTS. IELTS will score you, if you have a band of 6.5, it's going to give you an overall score of 20 points. If you have a band of 7, it's going to give you an overall score of 24. So the more you score in your IELTS, the more you have scores. That is how they score you for your language proficiency. The next thing that they are going to score you for is your education. So your education is going to score you some points. Your education scoring you, if you have a PhD, you have 25 points. If you have master's degree, you are going to have 23 points. If you have a bachelor's degree, you are going to have, if you have a double bachelor's degree, you are having 22 points. If you have a single bachelor's degree, you have a 21 points. You have a diploma that is 3 years that you did after your high school, is scoring you 19 points. A diploma that you did after your secondary school and you did not go to high school, but you went and obtained a diploma after secondary school, is scoring you 15 points. And if you have high school education, it scores you 5 points. Now, the next thing that you are going to be scored on is your work experience. If you have a 1-year work experience, it scores you 9 points. If you have 2 to 3 years work experience, it scores you 11 points. If you have a 4 to 5 years work experience, it scores you 13 points. If you have a 6 years and above work experience in that particular skill that you are applying through with, it scores you 15 points. So if you are applying to go as a nurse and you have been practicing nursing for the past 10 years, it scores you 15 points. If you have been practicing nursing and you are applying for this express entry route as a doctor, and you have been practicing as a doctor for 1 year, your nursing will not count. It's only the doctor skill that will count, and that will give you lesser points. So the profession that you are applying through, the more you have experience, is the more your points are added on that particular profession. Now, they are going to score you also on adaptability. Adaptability, you'll be scored 5 points if you have a spouse and the spouse has IELTS. If you have a spouse that is also living in Canada, you are scored. If you have a relative in Canada, you are scored for that. All those things, they count and they add to your points. You'll also be scored if you have a valid job offer from Canada. You have already a job offer from a Canadian employer, that will also add you some points. I think that is 10 points. Those points add now to give you your points to see if you meet up to 67 points. If you don't meet the 67 points, you will be eliminated from the express entry automatically. They will consider your application if you reach 67 points. Okay, let's take an example and calculate the points to see if it is easy to meet up the points that are needed. Let's say for instance I'm age 30 years, it gives me a score of 12 points plus I have an IELTS band of 7. It gives me 24 points, and I have a degree. It gives me 21 points, and I have work experience of 4 to 5 years, which gives me 13 points. That all together gives me 70 points. They say that the minimum points that they need is 67. So I've not even added if I have a job offer from Canada or not. I did not add if I have a spouse in Canada or not. I did not add any other thing to it. So see how you alone can generate your 70 points to move to Canada as a skilled worker under the federal skilled worker program. If you think that you are having all these skills and all I've named and mentioned in this video, don't hesitate to apply for the express entry program. If you don't have any of the skills, guys, we know that the pathway that many people have been using, like the education pathway, it is now becoming difficult. They don't want to give postgraduate work permit again to people that have come to Canada and study. They want people to go back because many people have used the education route to enter Canada and don't return. If you are planning and thinking of moving to Canada, you can consider starting one of the skilled job training right away. Let's say you're 20 years old, right now you're watching me, you decide to go in for nursing. You do your nursing program. You finish when you are 23. Maybe you start working. As you start working as a nurse, before you round up to make a year of having your work experience, you see that you also get your English language proficiency or any of the language proficiency, and within that time you build a good profile instead of struggling to keep going as a student, and you might face a probability of returning to your country. Get the education in your country and move there as a skilled worker. So guys, this is just my advice. I'm not an immigration expert. I'm not an immigration officer. It's just from my experience and others' experience that I'm also able to come here and give you this advice and let you make a choice that can better your life, better your family. If this has been beneficial to you, give a thumbs up to this video. Why not subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so that each time I upload a new video, you'll be the first to know. Thank you so much for watching.